Maharashtra. Mr. Jain, looking at the statements of these now hostile witnesses, very similar also to what a few ATS officers who are part of the Malegaon investigation team have said on record. So it appears prima facie that there is a lot more to this case. Your view on this?
Hi, good evening. See, my take on this is that if the ATS officers have tortured any witness to depose in favor of the prosecution story, it is a grossly wrong thing. It should have been pointed out by the witnesses long ago in the court itself, the moment this case was charge sheeted. Now it is too late in the day to say that they were tortured and their statements were recorded. My experience in the police has been that any witness who is brought to the court under duress is bound to turn hostile. And this fact was very well known to the investigating officer and his superiors also. So I don't know why, if at all, these guys were tortured and their statements were recorded, why it was done. And see, 33 witnesses turning hostile in a particular case is unheard of. I mean, this kind of a thing doesn't happen. Maybe a small number of witnesses do turn hostile sometimes, but such a large number of witnesses turning hostile means there is a major flaw in the investigation theory. I would also like to share with you my experiences when I was IG of Nasik Range, when the first blast took place in 2006, yes. So at that time, the actual accused were caught, but subsequently, when this case happened, the second case of blast happened, that particular crime was also reopened, and the entire story was turned upside down. I mean, there we had very specific accused. We had found linkages to Pakistan. We had found linkages to ISI. Even General Musharraf had mentioned the name of Malegaon in one of his speeches. And suddenly, when the second case happened, the entire narrative was turned around, and the same accused who were in 2008, they were shown as accused in 2006. And all the original accused were acquitted and they were discharged from the case. So the entire case has gone to dogs. So I don't know. I mean, I have my doubts as to what kind of investigation was carried out. If that was the narrative in the first case, I can see what narrative was being said for the second case also. So I would have my doubts. I would maybe partly trust these witnesses who are now turning hostile. But as I said earlier, that my experience has been that any witness who has been made to give a statement under coercion will never stand in the court and say the wrong thing, unless the same threat continues, which it never does, because the officers pass on, they go to other charges, and nobody has that kind of interest in the case. So it doesn't happen.
Now, what you're saying is very big. I let you complete your statement there. You said you were part of the investigation team when the first blast happened. At least you were in Nasik Range, or you were involved in one aspect of the investigation. You made arrests. There were clear links to Pakistan. And when the second blast happened, you're saying the entire angle changed. So I'm not getting you into the politics of it, but was there meddling? Are you suspecting that there was much more to it?
See, there was certainly much more to it. I stand by my theory. We were the first responders in point of time, both to the blast as well as to the first part of the investigation. Then subsequently, the investigation was taken over by the ATS and then by the CBI. Till that time, our narrative was held to be correct. And the charge sheet was sent up in the court accordingly, naming the same accused whom we had caught. I mean, we had made doubly, triply, 10 times over, we had made it sure that the actual accused were being charge sheeted. Now, once the charge sheet was submitted in the court, and the second blast happened in 2008, then the entire narrative changed. The investigation of 2006 was reopened, and all those original accused who had been arrested in 2006 were discharged, and the accused of 2008 case were made accused in this case. So that 2006 case has gone to dogs. Nothing is going to come out of it, because there is not an iota of evidence against the so-called accused who have been made accused now in the second part of the investigation. So 2008 case, I don't know where will it go, because I was not there in that. I was not involved in that investigation. I was not in Nasik at that time. But the first case of 2006, when the first blast took place in a mosque, I can share with you with 200% surety that the accused whom we had arrested, whom the ATS and CBI had confirmed were the actual accused, who were under some political consideration discharged from the case in 2010, I think, if I'm correct. And the accused who were the so-called accused in 2008 case were also shown as accused in the 2006 case. So the entire investigation of 2006 was junked, and some new set of accused were brought in, against whom, at least in my considered opinion, there was no evidence whatsoever at the time when we handed over the investigation to the CBI or to the ATS.
Let me ask you, sir, because you served in the police and you were part of this investigation or an aspect of it, did any political party, any politician, any minister try to influence the investigation? To the best of your knowledge?
Not in 2006. In 2006, what had happened was, then when we were to take a press conference about because there was a lot of pressure, public pressure from the press and pressure from the seniors for the detection of the case. So when we wanted to take, after about 20 days of the blast having taken place, when we wanted to take a press conference, the then Home Minister did tell me not to go ahead with the press with the press conference and to hold it back for some more time. And maybe the intention was that we should announce the right kind of people who were involved in the case. But there was no interference in the process of investigation whatsoever. But in 2008, by that time, the narrative of the Bhagwa Atankwad had already been set, and I think the entire case was turned around only to suit that particular narrative, that it was all the doing of that Hindu outfit and not the first Muslim outfit which was responsible for the 2006 blast. So I am very clear about it. As far as 2006, there was no interference in the investigation. There was some pressure not to take the press conference at that time, yes, but we went ahead with the pressure because all you people, the entire press folks were outside with their OB vans outside our office. So we did take that press conference, but there was no interference. But 2008 narrative was totally different, and 2006 was overturned only to, I think, in my opinion, to bring that Bhagwa Atankwad into focus or into limelight.
Sir, can I ask you one last question? Have you ever spoken about this before?
I have many times. I have spoken about it. 2006 investigation, I stand by my words, was the investigation which was carried out initially by Nasik Police, after that by ATS, and then by CBI. All the three agencies maintained what we said in the first place, because the accused had been arrested after a lot of forensic evidence, after a lot of investigation, true investigation that was made at that time. And I have spoken about it earlier also in some of the press, in some of the on the TV shows, as well as in our official circles.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Mr. P.K. Jain. Thank you for joining us. You said there were clear links to Pakistan. Clear links to Pakistan 2006?
There were two operatives who had come from Pakistan. It had come and they had left before the blast took place.
Okay.
They were Nepali-looking guys. They said they were Nepali-looking guys who had come from. They had come from Pakistan, and they left before the blast took place, actually.
Okay, P.K. Jain, thank you for speaking to Republic TV this evening. And this is why we feel that there is a lot more in the case of the Malegaon blasts, when 33 witnesses turn hostile, and it's not normal